Message from Two Clouds, April 18th, 2022. Yawagoa, big thanks. Wagadegarite, I'm alright. The pain that's been plaguing me is caused by heartache as opposed to a physical pain. I've been staying away from everyone, especially the Deer Clan. I only come out when I'm with my baby. A message between Two Clouds and a friend, May 25th, 2022. Good morning, my love, and thank you. I'm moving away from the area Monday. Friend. Damn, that makes me so sad to hear. But I hope it is everything you need it to be. Will you ever be around? I don't want to not see you ever again. Two Clouds. I don't know if I'll be involved with the tribe anymore. Deke broke my heart, and the council broke my spirit. Message between Two Clouds and a friend. July 2nd, 2022. When the shop opened, it was agreed that I was to run it in partnership with the Mohawk. But the council took away my vote, then took away the store from me. I worked on the shop's opening from February until October when it finally opened, and they completely took everything. They put Deke in charge of the shop. I showed him how to keep track of sales for a week. After that, he literally wrote down nothing. Money didn't add up. Product was missing. I called the Mohawk to get everything, all of the cigarettes. They took everything except for a carton of each type, about 10 cartons. He stole all of them the day Owl was there. It's been killing my spirit, all of this. Friend, give him a bill and a deadline and tell the elders. Two Clouds. The council is protecting him. I have done anything and everything for this tribe. For them to be this way has caused me to have a feeling of betrayal and pain that is keeping me from sleeping. Facebook post of Deke Blackbear DeFreeze, July 7th, 2022, the day after Two Clouds' lifeless body was found. Meme. Personally, I don't find swearing offensive. I do find backstabbing, lying, cheating, and fucking people over offensive, but not swearing. Facebook post of Deke DeFreeze, July 8th, 2022, the day of Two Clouds' funeral. Think I'm going to go out tonight and look for a little bit of fun. I'm tired of being in a place where I don't belong, so I'm going to go do me. Fuck it. Facebook post, Deke DeFreeze, July 9th, 2022, the day after Two Clouds' funeral. Good, beautiful morning, everyone. Wishing you all a very happy, safe, and fun weekend. Be your best, folks. Facebook post of Deke DeFreeze, July 10th, 2022. Living a stress-free, happy, and single life. No more of the weight of lies and disrespect holding me down anymore. It's time to be that fire again. That flame of positive energy that is blessed by the highest power that there is. Facebook post, Deke DeFreeze, July 10th, 2022. I only ever speak the truth no matter what. Fuck getting stuck in a ball of lies. You will lose every time. Facebook update, Deke DeFreeze, July 10th, 2022. A photograph of the exact place where Two Clouds' dead body was pulled from the river is uploaded as Deke's Facebook banner. Facebook post, Deke DeFreeze, July 12th, 2022. I can breathe again. Happy face emoticon. I feel my happiness coming back. Thank you, Jesus. Facebook post, Deke DeFreeze, July 12th, 2022. What a joke that one is. Followed by 18 laughing and silly face emojis. Commenter, you okay, Brother Bear? Commenter, you good, Cuzzo? An open letter to the Ramapo tribe from Deke DeFreeze a few months after Two Clouds' death. Hello and good morning, everyone. I am here to say that I did not steal anything at all from anyone ever. Everyone knows me, knows that I am not that person. I was asked to work the cigarette store to help make money for our nation as well as the Mohawk Nation to brighten our future for our people. When the Mohawks decided that they were going to close the store down and empty the entire store, 1 week later I was asked to go and clean out the store because it was no longer in operation. When I went to the store, I noticed that there were 8 cartons of cigarettes that were left behind, and I took that as my payment, being that I was owed $1,040 after the store had closed. I then called Roger Jock and asked him about my payment. To this day, this very second, I still have not heard back from anyone, so I took those 8 cartons of cigarettes as my payment. That is the only, and I mean the only thing that was taken from me from that store as my payment since I never heard back from anyone. If anyone would like to, I will also share my timesheet where every single second that I worked at that cigarette shop is documented. So if any monies at all came up missing from that cigarette shop, it has nothing at all to do with me. I keep hearing a lot of stuff about me when none of it is true. So yes, a meeting on this matter needs to happen ASAP. I would never steal from the elders, let alone anyone else. I've always helped the Ramapo Nation with anything that I could, and I always will. I love my people, and I will always do what's best for us all. And for those who believe that I would do such a thing, really, people, don't believe all the lies. I think you know me better than that. I stand for what's right for our people, period. Facebook post from the Ramapo Muncie Lenape family's Facebook page. Poster Rodney Van Dam, August 9th, 2022. All I can say and will say is we only have one chief of the Ramapos, and if someone has died, he can't defend himself. So to blame for stealing is just a sad thing to do, shaking my head. Commenter Amy Martinez in response. Muriyd Williams did not steal anything. That's all I have to say. I know the 100% truth. Before Two Clouds passed, he shared with us all the texts between him and everyone involved.
This is Deke Blackbeard DeFries. He is a Ramapo tribal member, cousin of the now former principal tribal chief, Dwayne Perry, and the darling of the tribal council. In the early days, after Two Clouds moved to Mawa in 2016 to lead the fight in protecting the Ramapo's religious rights and reclaiming dozens of acres of their stolen land, he and Deke had a good rapport. They referred to each other as cousins, which is common among tribal folks, and Two Clouds genuinely liked him. Things eventually went sour when Two Clouds found out that Deke had beat up his girlfriend very badly. He phoned me infuriated, wanting to beat Deke in return. Two Clouds had been an advocate for domestic violence since his youth when he witnessed a woman be attacked by her spouse. He decided that retaliating on behalf of Deke's girlfriend will cause turmoil in the tribe, but he made it a point to avoid Deke as much as possible. Flash forward to February 2021. Two Clouds was both Ramapo and Ganigahaga, Mohawk. He lived both traditions, embraced both cultures, and spoke both languages. He also worked closely with both tribes, and at the time of his murder was helping build a religious longhouse in Akwesasne, Mohawk territory. Mohawk elder Roger Jock took to Two Clouds from the beginning because he likely realized Two was a true warrior, fearless yet strategic and smart. As so many others, he was also probably impressed by all the gains Two had made already soon after he moved to Mawa. Ones that no one had pursued, let alone accomplished before. Roger befriended the 24-year-old. offering a perceived camaraderie and loyalty by sending another Mohawk elder, Ganyaguyo Harumolts, to stay on the land at 95 Halifax Road in Mawa with Two Clouds throughout 2 winters while they fought tirelessly for the tribe. In a couple of years, Ganyaguyo would become a fall guy and spend about 4 years in jail as an elderly, chronically ill man behind the Ramapo. He was released and was living with Two Clouds for less than 2 months before that fateful day on July 3rd, 2022. But by the start of 2021, Roger had convinced Two Clouds that he was a successful businessman who could be of benefit to the Ramapo by helping them become financially independent. He would do this by fronting the money to open a smoke shop on their tribal territory. Two Clouds would be the shop manager, and the Ramapo and Roger would make a high profit selling Indian cigarettes. Two Clouds bought into the idea, trusting Roger and his ability to make money for the tribe as he claimed he had done for himself. As usual, Two Clouds was thinking about how he could help the Ramapo overcome their generational plight. He had already saved their religious land from being snatched by the adjacent Hunt and Polo Club HOA, was instrumental in halting a $1 billion oil pipeline from being run through Mawa proper, as well as one of the tribe's large ancestral cemeteries. He successfully fought to have a tribal scholarship reinstated at a local college, and a tenured professor there fired for teaching racist views about the Ramapo in her curriculum. He won back dozens of acres of stolen land through litigation, as well as inspired some landowners to donate parts of their own land to the tribe in good faith. He garnered never-before-reaped support and respect from outsiders, and secured a literal seat at the table for the tribe, plus so much more. If this smoke shop plan worked, it would be yet another achievement that will help the Ramapo for at least the next 7 generations. The tribal council was also on board with this economic strategy, albeit for a short time. Almost immediately, there was turmoil as members nitpicked this and that and this. Council meeting after council meeting was called to hash it out over details of the store, rarely resulting in solutions. Two Clouds was increasingly frustrated. He grew up working in and managing successful family businesses and had managed other establishments with multiple employees before moving to the mountains. Where he had been excited and hopeful in the beginning, he became disenchanted and despondent. As he saw it, the council members had no business knowledge or experience in business, yet were getting in the way of progress for the people for no reasons other than egos, selfishness, and greed. Roger had already started funneling big money into the operation, and Two Clouds' anxiety was on 12 for months, causing terrible chest pains and insomnia. Finally, he had enough. He told Roger he was no longer interested in trying to help people who refused to help themselves. But Roger wouldn't hear of it. He begged and gaslighted to no end until Two Clouds gave in, wanting to honor the elder and his initial promise to actually be there for the smoke shop. He agreed to help, but only until the store was up and running. He had recently earned membership in a local carpenters union and said that as soon as they called him with his first assignment, he was leaving. The tribal council had finally settled terms, and after months of closed-door chaos, the smoke shop would be opening. But before Two Clouds knew what was happening, Stephen Owl Smith hired Deke and his sister Christy to work in the shop, and Two had no say in the decision. He was livid. Not only did he not like Deke due to the domestic violence against his girlfriend, but he alleged that Deke also had a severe drug addiction that was not a secret within the tribe. Two said, as far as he was concerned, an addict was the last person who should be trusted around money. Besides that, he accused that Deke was undisciplined and had terrible work ethic, so he absolutely did not want Deke involved in the store, especially with himself as manager, responsible for the goings-on there. He complained to the chief and council, but they insisted Deke stay on. Two Clouds became more and more stressed, worried that his reputation with the Mohawks would be smeared, convinced that a disaster was destined. Little did we all know, it would go far worse than he anticipated. Deke often did not show up for work, and when he did, his scheduled time was of no consequence. For example, if he was supposed to open at 10 a.m. and close at 6 p.m., he may very well show up at noon and close just 4 hours later. Two Clouds was perturbed. Hardly any money was being made for expenses, yet Deke was demanding payment for his lackadaisical labor. When Two Clouds went to Chief Perry and the council, they dismissed him and did nothing about it. Again and again, Two went to Roger, embarrassed and apologetic, to explain the situation, which fanned his ire towards Deke more and more. What I found entirely strange was that each time he went to Roger, furious himself and even more ready to throw in the towel, Roger would act like it was no big deal, send the money to pay Deke and buy supplies, and encourage Two Clouds to hang in there. I asked my son more than once, why the hell is Roger so okay with losing all that money? I knew from my son that the Mohawk had invested about $200,000 into the business so far, expecting a profit in return on top of what the Ramapo would amass. Yet not only was there no reciprocation after months of operation, he was consistently losing money and seemed hunky-dory about the whole thing. My son would chuckle, hardly able to believe it himself, and say, Roger is a millionaire. I would answer, I don't know how with him giving away money like that. To me, something else was going on that my son wasn't seeing through his strawberry lenses. I owned successful businesses and managed employees for many years. Either Roger was not as adept in business as he led Two Clouds to believe, or he had a different agenda. Either way, I did not like what I observed, but I trusted my son knew better than me since he was the one in the inner chamber and not me. So after months of this, the inevitable happened. One day, Two Clouds went to open the shop, and when he stepped inside, his heart dropped. The store was all but bare. There were no signs of a break-in. Only he and Deke had keys to the door, so it was obvious to him what had taken place. Two Clouds went to the chief and council and, true to form, they did nothing about it. They will call council meeting after council meeting to discuss the situation, yet, although Deke had admitted to the theft, they refused to follow their own tribal constitution and rules to reprimand him accordingly. They also refused to repay the $33,000 which Deke was alleged to have stolen in cash and product, even while they knew Two Clouds was being held liable for the loss by people who had invested money with Roger into the venture. On top of that, Ramapo elders were gaslighting Two Clouds, telling him that he should make up with Deke, offering to hold sweats and act as intermediaries, as if he or some trivial, obscure reason was the problem, not Deke stealing thousands of dollars and their refusal to do anything about it. When Two Clouds would demand that they follow their constitution, they would insist that although it was tribal law, parts of it were outdated, so they needed to deal with this theft situation in light of the times. Two retorted that their rules for thievery were sufficient for all times, and that they were hypocrites, old people uncommitted to what they claimed, not wise or dignified elders at all. To my son, this was more confirmation that they did not respect him or care about his well-being. The last months of his life were locked in heated battle with the tribal government about their unwillingness to protect him and appropriately deal with Deke's transgressions. Because of this, I was totally caught off guard when in early June 2022, 1 month before he was murdered, Two Clouds was elected tribal war chief. In the meantime, Deke had taken to self-isolating inside his home in hopes of evading Two Clouds. That was one more thing that embittered my son about the man. Along with the council allowing him to go unchecked for beating a woman, stealing, lying, and haphazardly putting another tribal member's very life in danger, they also let him live rent-free in a house on property that was given to the tribe by the Hudson River Presbytery, the former Stony Point church property that is now the Sweetwater Cultural Center. Of course, Two Clouds' complaints about this being a gross show of nepotism and unfair in that the house could be used to generate money or offer some other betterment to the tribe on a whole, not just one member, fell on deaf ears. But let me back up for a minute. In late January or maybe early February 2022, Pete DeGroat relocated to Mahwah from Florida. You can refer to part 1 of this series to hear pertinent information pertaining to this person in relation to Two Clouds' murder. Two Clouds met Pete online in the very early stages of reclaiming his paternal grandmother's heritage. Pete's father is a Ramapo from the Mahwah Mountains, but he had not grown up there himself. Even so, he was one of the first tribal cousins of whom Two made a connection. However, since Two Clouds' work almost immediately kicked off after he first visited the tribal office, met Chief Perry, and learned of their plight, his budding relationship with Pete soon fell to the wayside. But years later, when Pete popped up from Florida, Two Clouds embraced him, took him under his wing, and let him ride with him despite his terrible disposition. Pete was known as a menace, boisterous, obnoxious, and always bullying other natives and people he knew would not defend themselves, including elders. No one cared for him, but stayed out of his way lest they have to deal with his fits. Two Clouds chose to lead with empathy because he had known many insecure men who picked with people and threw tantrums when they didn't get their way. He felt sorry for his older little cousin, but Pete also knew with whom he could and couldn't play those games. With Two Clouds, he knew his place and stayed there. After Two became war chief, Pete helped to convince him that he now had authority to kick Deke out of the tribal property. They went there together to confront Deke and told him that he had until a certain time to move out. As usual, Two Clouds stood on business, and per his norm, Pete performed as a belligerent. Deke was terrified, and Chief Perry was irate. More flames were fanned. Aside from the theft and residence situations, there were more fires raging. Allegations of money laundering, intent to sell off acres of ancestral land reclaimed by Two Clouds, power struggles, and long-standing attempts at secession. But a more pressing event happened around June 17th, 2.5 weeks before Two Clouds' murder. Daniel Thomas, who is known as Strongwalker, showed up unannounced on Ramapo territory, the exact area where Two's body lifeless, would be found dumped a few weeks later, making threats and pretending to claim the land for the Oklahoma Delaware Indians. At the time, Daniel was the head of CPAIN, a movement created by the Oklahoma, which seeks to prove East Coast Lenape tribes, like the Ramapo, are illegitimate Indians. They hold that the only true Lenape are those who were pushed westward by the white colonizer government, who then granted them land, federal recognition, and benefits that are not offered to state or non-recognized indigenous peoples. As far as they are concerned, the Ramapo are pretendians, a derogatory term used by indigenous people who choose to turn a blind eye to their own mixed heritage and diluted blood quantum, and that any land claimed or reclaimed by the Ramapo is nothing short of heresy. Ironically, the next year, almost to date, Daniel was removed from his CPAIN position due to inciting fear and violence in the name of the Oklahoma Delaware, and for falsifying his birthright as hereditary tribal chief. Not only was his intent questioned, but also whether or not he is actually even a tribal member at all. As one woman accused, they had not ever heard of him until a few years before. Furthermore, while discussion during the meeting, and you can find that link below, condemned the Ramapo for including anyone who has Ramapo ancestry into their tribe, not only those with matrilineal heritage, they somehow deduced that their doing the same for themselves was a viable solution for the decrease in their own tribal membership and in their blood quantum. Yeah, go figure. Nonetheless, when Daniel sneaked up on the mountain, many Ramapo were frightened. Two Clouds was then the new war chief, so the responsibility to protect the people fell squarely on his shoulders. It's not lost on me, though, that after years and years of having no tribal war chief at all, a mere 2 weeks or so after Two Clouds was elected, this dire event, which directly helped lead to his demise, took place. I will delve deeper into facts surrounding his murder during subsequent videos in this series, but suffice to say that on Friday, July 1st, 2022, Two Clouds drove hours away to Mashpee, Massachusetts, believing he would garner support against Daniel. When that did not work out, he returned to Mawa by the next afternoon, Saturday, July 2nd. And while awaiting for the call to pick up his toddler for a much-anticipated birthday party, he went missing the morning of Sunday, July 3rd. His decomposed body was found in shallow, still backwater, which is connected to the religious land that he first secured for the Ramapo, and where Daniel stood recording a Facebook Live about 20 days before. Now that we have that out the way, let's revisit some of those messages at the beginning of this video to follow Deke's state of mind the days following the discovery of Two Clouds' dead body. So, Two Clouds' body is found. The police are there at the scene somewhere after 9 o'clock in the morning, and they're there for about 7.5, 8 hours or so. Once Deke got the word that Two Clouds had been found, he got sick and had to leave work early. He began that afternoon, after Two Clouds' body was found, to start insinuating and implying to people that Two Clouds hadn't been himself lately, and that, in no uncertain terms, he most likely committed suicide. Incidentally, this is also a rumor that Pete began trying to spread that day, as well as Pete and former tribal chief Dwayne Perry also began starting rumors that very same afternoon that two clouds fell out of his boat either drunk or from a heart attack and drowned. Deke actually, along with everyone else who were posting RIPs for Two Clouds, he also wrote a very short RIP. It was something to the effect of like, Two Clouds, love you, brother, or something like that. I do have the snapshot somewhere. Don't know where it is. You can feel free to go to his page if he has not yet taken it down, as this is not my first time pointing out these specific screenshots of his posts from that time. So the next day, the 7th, when people who love Two Clouds, know of Two Clouds and his work, or, associates and what have you, everyone is still sort of in shock, and they are making this known through their posts on their Facebook pages. This is what Deke had to say. Personally, I don't find swearing offensive. I do find backstabbing, lying, cheating, and fucking people over offensive, but not swearing. People who knew what was going on found this post very interesting. But, it's the first day after Two Clouds is found. People are still trying to, make heads of tail of this whole thing. And honestly, several people came to me and told me that they believe Deke may have something to do with it. But I just took that as information, filed it away in my mind, took note of it, and figured, I'll see. People don't always know what they're talking about, but I'll just start paying it more attention. I knew about all the stuff that was going on surrounding Deke's theft and the tribal government and the chief and everybody not standing by Two Clouds as well as Owl. And so I was aware of all the things that were happening. This is the day of the funeral. Now, Deke did not come to the funeral. He did not show his face really at the ceremonies up on the land where we were directly after the funeral. Though I have been told by people that they saw him ride up on his bicycle, just sort of looking over from the distance, and then he left. I don't have any proof of that, but I have been told that by multiple people. But nonetheless, this is the day of the funeral. Think I'm going to go out tonight and look for a little bit of fun. I'm tired of being in a place where I don't belong, so I'm going to do me. Fuck it. Again, everybody is still reeling. We just had the funeral. Those people, which it was a nice, big crowd, came to the ceremony on the land to, give respect to Two Clouds. We were there until, nighttime. Everybody's just sort of still going through it, right? But then he posts this. And again, people who know what's going on, this seems really fishy. But the thing that always struck me from the very beginning is how just blatant these posts were. And you'll see as they start to go on during the next few days that they get even more just very brave, quite frankly, and arrogant. I immediately found this was strange to me because Two Clouds may have been dead, but Pete was still here. And Pete was far more fiery, undisciplined, will, just really just rah-rah type of a person. So two clouds, even though two clouds could fight and, be even beat to a pulp without really even trying, he was very disciplined, he was strategic, he was empathetic, and all those sorts of things. So it seemed to me from the very beginning that if I know that this crazy guy, by all intents and purposes, his supposed to be best friend, the guy that he's always around, always on his coattail, this guy ends up dead. And understand, many people from the beginning believed that it was foul play involved. So if this guy, who everybody loves and thinks has been killed, he's dead, the crazy friend is alive, I would think that Deke would be laying low. He for sure wouldn't be on social media talking reckless. So I found that very, very, very interesting, to say the least. The day after the funeral. Good, beautiful morning, everyone. Wishing you all a very happy, safe, and fun weekend. Be your best, folks. Again, everybody's still reeling from this whole thing, and he's sounding very, very happy, very peppy. Like, he might even be walking down, a trail and jump up and click both his heels to the side of himself. He just seems very happy, almost ecstatic, going by this and, the subsequent posts that he does. And very, very fishy. Not only to me, but to many people. People are watching this. 2 days after the funeral. Living a stress-free, happy, and single life. No more of the weight of lies and disrespect holding me down anymore. It's time to be that fire again. That flame of positive energy that is blessed by the highest power that there is. Again, very happy. He's seeing it right there. He's no more stressed. He's happy. He's single. There's no more weight of lies. There's no more disrespect. He's ready to be that fire again. So, what has happened? What has happened in his life that was so significant and beautiful and blessed by this higher power? What has happened in these past 2 to 3 days for him? The same day, 2 days after the funeral, July 10th, 2022. This photo is of the exact spot where police say Two Clouds' body was found. The exact spot. Deke went and took a photo down there on the land, and not only did he put the photo on Facebook, but he actually made it his Facebook banner. Does that seem strange to anyone besides me? Especially in light of everything that has happened thus far. The same day, 2 days after the funeral of Two Clouds. I only ever speak the truth no matter what. Fuck getting stuck in a ball of lies. You will lose every time. You will lose every time. Really, folks, what do you think he's talking about? Why do you think he's getting more and more blatant, even with Deke walking around? Even with Roger, who knows that he stole at least $33,000 worth of cash and product. Pete, who is the boyfriend of Roger's daughter, Consuela. Pete, who is up in Roger's face all the time. Pete, who is a member of Roger's Mohawk Warriors group or association. Why is it that Deke, just because something miraculous has happened for him in the past few days, is so boisterous, so blatant, so arrogant? All the things he was not when Two Clouds was alive. Why is he no longer hiding in his rent-free home, going outside to have a little fun, living single and carefree? Why? July 12th, 2022. 4 days after the funeral of Two Clouds. 6 days after his body was found. I can breathe again. I feel my happiness coming back. Thank you, Jesus. Again, what is this miracle and blessing that has left him able to breathe again? No longer is he stifled. No longer is he needing to self-isolate in his home. There's no more fear. There's no more stress. All the weight is off of him. He's loving life. He's happy. What has happened? What great gift has Jesus given to him? Again, July 12th, 2022. 9 days after my son, Muriyd Williams, went missing. 6 days after his body was found. 4 days after we buried him. Deke Blackbeard DeFries writes, "What a joke that one is." Followed by 16 hilariously laughing emojis and 2 silly faces. This is a joke, not only to Deke. They can have their time laughing, but that will be short-lived. Please, if you believe that Muriyd Williams deserves justice, if you are advocates for missing and murdered Indigenous people, no matter what they look like, if you believe that all lives, including Afro-Indigenous lives, matter, if you believe that all people, no matter what they look like, no matter what their race or ethnicity is, no matter what their religion or gender is, or lack thereof, if you believe that they all deserve justice and that evildoers should be taken off the street, locked away as long as possible, then please share this video and visit our YouTube channel, Beyond Clouds 6745, and visit our website and blog at beyond-clouds.org/blog to help us get justice for Two Clouds.